Yes, we're recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, base friends, you got your notes, please? Last first to notes before we get the last assignment of the chapter. I decided to rework the assignment in the book because the book assignment was pretty lame. With all due respect to the book. We talked about 3 different ways. We had talked about 3 different ways to get equations. Are we done? Oh, sorry. We talked about 3 different equations we were using for quadratics when we were trying to find equations. If I gave you some data, for example, I want to give you the last method today, but as a review, if you have a parabola that has a vertex, that's 2, 9, and it goes through a point 7, 3. Can somebody find the equation for me? Talk me through it. Go. Where do you start? What form would you use probably?
Vertex form?
Yeah, rattle off vertex form for me. Y equals what?
Like the actual equation or just like
The generic equation.
Okay.
Yeah.
A parentheses x minus h and squared plus k.
Plus k. Make sure you have those 3 forms memorized. You will need them on Friday. Okay. If that's true, do we have anything to plug in? Go.
You can start with the vertex.
Vertex. What 2 letters are those, by the way?
H and K.
Correct. H and K. Plug in for me. And actually, I should say any other letters we could plug in?
Yeah, you can plug in X and Y.
Right. 7 and 3 are x and y. They're just a generic point on the parabola, so you can use them as x and y. So from beginning to end, go ahead and plug them in.
So it'd be 3 equals
Yep.
A
Correct.
parentheses 7 minus 2
Yep.
squared plus 9.
Plus 9. Everybody good so far? Let me see. Spencer, take over. What would you do with that thing?
Do 7 minus 2 first.
Definitely. Parentheses. Order of operations. So what's 7 minus 2? 5. And then squared?
25.
So simplify it so far. 3 equals.
25 plus 9.
Yes. Keep going.
Minus 9 each side.
Okay. What do you get?
Negative 6 equals 25a.
Okay.
And
One more
then
step.
Divide everything by 25.
Right? Does that reduce or no?
No.
So what do you get?
Negative 6 over 25.
Negative 6 over 25. Now, a lot of people, historically speaking, when they got to this point in the test, they got so excited over the fact that they solved something that they circled that and moved on to the next problem. And I was sitting in my comfy grading chair in Ionia, and people in Grand Rapids probably heard me scream. So why? You need to find the equation. It was so close. The hard part is done. Can somebody reconstruct the entire equation beginning to end? Go.
Y equals
Yes.
negative 6 over 25.
Yep.
Parentheses x minus 2
Good.
squared plus 9.
Got it. The main chore, the reason we plugged in x comma y at all, was temporary. It was just to get the value of a, because we didn't know what it was yet. So we need a value of a, we need a value of h and k, and then leave x and y alone. Those should be in your final answer. Does that make sense? So that's how to find a mystery vertex form. What about this? Quick example. Suppose you have a parabola with x-intercepts of, trying to think if there's a creative way to do this. Yeah, let's do it. X-intercepts of 3 and 9. And a y-intercept of negative 5. I want you to find the equation. I threw a little bit of a curveball at you here. Any ideas of where to start? Go. X-intercept form. Rattle it out for me if you would.
Y equals A influences X minus X1
Uh,
and X minus X2.
correct. X minus X1 in first parentheses, X minus X2 in the second parentheses. Is this still okay? So that's X-intercept form. That's the second, well, it's the third form you should memorize. Do we have anything to plug in? Megan, take over. The y-intercept. How? Nice. The y-intercept, don't just plug in a -5 in here somewhere. A lot of people are tempted to plug it in here. Yes and no. What is this point really? So what was it again? 0, -5. What two letters are these? Those are x and y. That's your mystery point in disguise. It's kind of like the point 7, 3. Only you had to work a little bit and put an extra 0 in there. Nice. Becca, take over. Plug in what you can plug in.
So it'd be -5
Nice.
equals A
Yeah, you notice they didn't give you a? Go ahead.
parentheses 0
Yep.
minus 3,
Good.
and then let's see 0 minus 9.
0 minus 9. See how that worked? This is x1, and this is x2, the two x-intercepts. X, you notice we used x twice. Regular x minus the first x-intercept, regular x minus the second x-intercept. Go ahead and simplify that if you would. Okay. So -5 equals a times what? Okay. Yeah, sorry. Just simplify that, now let's get something else.
-3.
Yep,
That's -9.
got it. Take over, Abby. What's this need to be?
Positive 18.
Close, positive. And a food.
27.
There you go, 27. So what is that so far?
And then, what?
What is that so far, if you simplify it? What is a times
5
20?
equals A, 27A.
27, there you go. One more step should do it.
You add 5, or subtract 27,
Almost, not subtract, but
divide.
yeah, if they multiply by 27, you divide by 27. You're gonna get a fraction, does that reduce or no?
No.
No, so what do you get? A equals,
A equals -5 over 27.
good. Use that and give me your final answer. Mary. From beginning to end.
So would it be y equals
Good.
-5 over 27,
Yep,
parentheses x minus 3,
yep,
parentheses x minus 9.
exactly. We need the regular x and the regular y in your final equation for all the forms. But everything else, you should be able to plug in a value. Does that make sense? Feeling okay? That was a review from last time. And now I need to show you the third and final method. Now again, I'm going to drill you into the homework. I'm probably not going to give you a grotesque version like this on the task, because I promised you I wouldn't. There is a simplified version that I think I might sneak in on the task. I'll show you what I mean. The third method, which requires standard form. Quick example. Suppose I just give you 3 points on a parabola. Here are the 3 points. 0, 6, 2, 4, 5, 5. Did they give you anything special whatsoever? Like, did they give you any x-intercepts? How do you know? What do x-intercepts look like? Exactly. An x-intercept is something, 0. I don't see any of those. Did they give you any y-intercepts? They did, actually. Where?
The first one, 0, 7.
Yeah, they gave you a y-intercept of 6. But are there any of the forms that require a y-intercept? There's vertex form, x-intercept form, standard form. do any of them highlight a y-intercept? Standard form's the only one that's left. Does it require a y-intercept? No, it does not. So, I mean, it's interesting, but there's no form that's obviously going to help. There's no vertex here, as far as we know. Could one of these be the vertex? Maybe. But if they didn't tell us, we can't assume it is. So we have to assume we don't have a vertex. And we don't have any x-intercepts, so there's only one form left. And that's standard form. Can somebody tell me how to use standard form for this? I don't have a heck of a lot to plug in. I'm just going to propose that this is x comma y, this is also x comma y, this is also x comma y. Can somebody tell me what standard form would look like if you just used that first point and nothing but the first point? Okay, go. Here's standard form. Do you know what A is? Neither do I. How about B? Ditto. C? Not as far as we know. So what can you plug in? Just ignore these two. Just use this one first. The x and the y. That's all we can do. Do it. What's y?
Oh, 6.
6 equals
A 0 squared.
a times 0 squared plus b times 0. Can you simplify that for me? What's 0 squared
0.
times a?
0.
0. What's 0 times b?
0.
What's left?
C.
Equals 6. You're a third of the way done with the problem. We now know that it's ax squared plus bx plus 6. Catch that? Just plugging in the first point did give us something. Try the second one. Will. And by the way, remember that C is now 6, so you don't have to use C over again.
So it would be 4.
4.
Equals, A,
Uh-huh.
parentheses, 2
Good.
squared,
Uh-huh.
plus, B,
Times
2,
2 plus
6.
6. So we still with me? We're using the 6 that we got, because that's a lot better than C. Simplify for me. What is
So,
this?
4A.
Well,
Oh,
4A.
sorry.
You can do it that way, that's fine. Plus
Plus 2B.
2b plus 6 equals. You notice there's still 2 letters in there? That's less than ideal. But we can at least get this by itself. Can you get the a and b by itself and get the number out of there? No, okay. One step to do it.
Which one do you want out?
I just want the a and b by itself.
So -6.
Minus 6. What do you get final answer?
-2.
Yeah, 4a plus 2b, cancel, equals -2. Put a box around that. That is something that we've sort of seen last year and 2 years before that. But I'll show you why in a moment. Can somebody do the last point for me? Kate.
So it'll be 5
Uh-huh.
equals A,
Uh-huh.
parentheses 5 squared.
Good.
Plus B, parentheses 5,
Uh-huh.
plus 6.
Plus 6, good. Simplify that for me.
So it'll be,
You can go ahead and do it this side.
25A,
25a
plus 5B,
plus 5b plus 6 equals
5,
5. Get this out of here so I can get the letters by itself.
so subtract the 6,
Good. What's your final answer?
21.
Yeah, 25a plus 5b equals -1. Box that. It's not as fast as the other methods because it didn't give us as much specific information. But does anybody happen to recognize, I'm going to put these next to each other, 4a plus 2b equals -2. 25a plus 5b equals -1. 1. Does anyone remember how to solve those? Yeah.
Oh, I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, go ahead.
Never.
Oh, okay. How do you solve for A and B? I've got two equations and I need to solve for A and B. We've got, I think, 5 methods we did last year. Yeah. Elimination would be great. What does that mean?
So eliminate one of the variables.
Right, get one of the variables to cancel. Little sneaky trick here. Everybody look up here. Not required. This is optional. There's a rule in algebra that says you can do anything you want as long as you do it to both sides. You see the top row there? Normally the trick for elimination is, you see these 2 and these 5? If I multiply them up so that they're both 10, it should cancel. One is positive, one is negative, they'll cancel. There is a trick to make your math easier. You can magnify things up to what you need, but you can also shrink them. You notice a GCF here? Yeah. 2. Do me a favor, divide this whole row, as long as you do it to both sides, it's legal. So let me just put it down here. What would you get? Plus B equals -1. Look at these 2 rows. That should be a heck of a lot easier to do. Shaylee, take over. What letter would you like to cancel, the A's or the B's?
B.
I don't blame you, the B's. This is a 1. Tell me how.
Multiply it by -5.
Which one?
The bottom.
You multiply the bottom row by -5. So I'm going to recopy that. 25a plus 5b equals -1. And then do the bottom from -5 multiplied.
10, -10a
-10a
minus 5b
plus -5b
equals 5.
positive 5. Now what? Rainey, take over. Does anything cancel? The b's. Go ahead and add them and tell me what you get.
Yeah. 15,
Yep.
uh,
Equals 4. Keep going. Get a by itself. Divide by 15. What do you get? Good. Exactly. Leave it as 4 over 15. Are we done with the problem? Austin, what do you do next?
Then we plug A back in.
Yeah, this is kind of bad news. We normally have a nice number for A to plug back in. This one, not so much. We've got to plug A equals 4 over 15. You get to choose. You want to plug it in the top equation or the bottom equation? Go for it.
The bottom.
I don't blame you. The bottom equation, tell me what it looks like. 2 times what?
4 over 15.
Okay. Plus
1B.
1b, or just b, whichever, equals,
-1.
attack if you would, Blaze. What can we do with this thing?
You combine the 2 and 4 and 15.
Yeah, 2 times 4 over 15. How do you do that?
You just multiply the top and bottom.
Right,
By
2 over
Or do 2 over 1.
1. Go ahead and do it.
So it's 8 over 15.
8 over 15 plus b equals -1. Keep going.
You subtract 8 over 15.
Good. From
Both sides.
both sides. How do you do that?
And B equals
How do you do a whole number plus a fraction?
common denominator.
Common denominator, like what?
15.
15. Suggestion? This is -8 over 15. What's the other one?
Negative 15 over 15.
Nice. -15 over 15. Add them up for me.
Be negative 23
Over.
15.
Got it. Do you notice we have A, we have B, and way back from before we have C. Can somebody put this thing together from beginning to end? Very good. Y equals what? 4 over 15. X squared, nice. Plus. -23 over 15, what?
Oh, sorry.
X, good. Plus.
6.
And you're done. Congratulations. That is the hardest type of problem I'll ask you on the test. It's not that hard, it's tedious. And you'll have to remember from last year how to solve 2 equations for 2 unknowns. There are several methods. You might remember elimination, that was this. There's also a method called substitution. If you remember matrices, there's one called Kramer's rule. There's one called inverse matrices, A inverse B. There's graphing. I would not recommend that on this one. It would be horrendous. Questions? All righty. Let me grab the worksheet. It should be out of the printer right now. In a moment.
We were talking about this the other day. You and Megan are like, where no, they're talking about that.
It's not okay. Please, never zone out again, or you will be police-ified. Arrested. Under arrest. Do not take my hand over. That's how
Didn't print. I got printed. Sorry.
But she's the closest to my age.
Yeah, you're gonna get paid.
I appreciate it.
You know, I could probably turn this thing off. Yeah, sorry about that. For people listening at home, I think I'll be Sam. Hi. We're doing a worksheet. It's 1H-2. I'll email it to you. If you've already watched the video by now, you'll understand why. And that's about it. So
Goodbye.
this is my hand waving goodbye. Talk to you soon.
See you on the next
Recover quickly.